Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Friday Night Blitz right here on Livestream STL. It's week 8 of the high school football season. Every game matters as teams jockey for position in their district standings. Tonight we have Borgia in the Borough as the 3-3 St. Francis Borgia Knights take on the 4-3 Hillsborough Hawks. Borgia comes to Hillsborough after last week's 30-9 win over St. Dominic. The Knights' senior quarterback Sam Hegman threw for 233 yards and a touchdown in his return to the lineup after sitting out on COVID quarantine. He also ran for 65 yards. Hegman has a trio of sure-handed receivers to go to, but senior Tyler Steiferman is the deep threat. He's averaging 31 yards per catch. Alonzo McDonald is the feature back for Borgia. He had 52 yards rushing in the pass-heavy offense for the Knights. Linebackers Brenner Frankenberger and Gavin Mueller did most of the heavy lifting on defense with 8 tackles apiece. What could prove to be a key factor in tonight's game is the leg of Borgia kicker Jake Nowak. He had field goals of 19, 22, and 25 yards in the winning effort against St. Dominic. Hillsborough defeated DeSoto 54-34 in another shootout-style affair. The Hawks have now scored 118 points and have 1,065 yards of total offense in their last 2 games. With running back Austin Romaine out of the lineup, Jackson Patterson picked up the workload and did not disappoint. Patterson rambled for 272 yards and 4 touchdowns on 23 carries against DeSoto. Jackson is currently second in the metro area in scoring and in rushing yards. Big John Bennett had 88 yards and dragged tacklers up and down the field for the Hawks. He also led the charge on defense with 9 total tackles. For Borgia to be successful tonight, they must sustain long drives with short passes to help keep the Hawks' offense off the field. Their offensive line must give quarterback Hegman time to check down to open receivers as Hillsborough will blitz with the linebackers. If the Knights have drives that stall in the red zone, they won't hesitate to utilize their kicking game to put points on the board. A win tonight for Borgia would solidify their second-place standing in the Class 3 District 3 standings and would most likely assure them of a first-round home game. Hillsborough will once again be without the services of standout running back and linebacker Austin Romaine. As the Hawks have plenty of depth at running back, his absence will be felt more on the defensive side of the ball. For Hillsborough to win tonight, they must continue to do what they do best, grinding teams down with their modified veer triple option offense. On defense, they have to put pressure on Borgia's quarterback and force him out of the pocket. The secondary must keep the Knights receivers in front of them and not give up the deep ball. A win for the Hawks tonight would most likely keep them in second place in the Class 4 District 1 standings, ahead of North County team, which will have their hands full at Potosi tonight. Stick around for what should be a very interesting game right here on Livestream STL.
Hey, we're here with the Gridiron Geek once again for week number 8. How you doing there, Kurt?
Pretty good, Ray. I'm wearing really a faded T-shirt. I have to explain. This is a Rocky T-shirt, really the only one I had kicking around. I mention Rocky Balboa because everybody knows even if they haven't seen all of the movies, they know the legend of Rocky Balboa. How he didn't win his first big fight, but he won everybody's heart by going the distance. There's several games. I've spoke to some coaches who concur with me. I think that the entire county is stronger. Everybody's more parity. There's more good teams, more good games. All that wonderful stuff. Right now, and not just in our local districts, but in Misha. Yeah. But you can't avoid, on any level of football, you can't avoid the occasional mismatch. Right. And some of these teams tonight in week 8, they're not really playing to win. They don't have a chance. They're playing against the turbo clock. Can they go the distance? Right. Much like Jefferson did against Valley.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Friday Night Blitz right here on Livestream STL. It's week 8 of the high school football season. Every game matters as teams jockey for position in their district standings. Tonight we have Borgia in the Borough as the 3-3 St. Francis Borgia Knights take on the 4-3 Hillsborough Hawks. Borgia to Hillsborough after last week's 30-9 win over St. Dominic. The Knights senior quarterback Sam Hegman threw for 233 yards and a touchdown in his return to the lineup after sitting out on COVID quarantine. He also ran for 65 yards. Hegman has a trio of sure-handed receivers to go to, but senior Tyler Steiferman is the deep threat. He's averaging 31 yards per catch. Alonzo McDonald is the feature back for Borgia. He had 52 yards rushing in the pass-heavy offense for the Knights. Linebackers Brenner Frankenberger and Gavin Mueller did most of the heavy lifting on defense with 8 tackles apiece. What could prove to be a key factor in tonight's game is the leg of Borgia kicker Jake Nowak. He had field goals of 19, 22, and 25 yards in the winning effort against St. Dominic. Hillsborough defeated DeSoto 54-34 in another shootout-style affair. The Hawks have now scored 118 points and have 1,065 yards of total offense in their last 2 games. With running back Austin Romaine out of the lineup, Jackson Patterson picked up the workload and did not disappoint. Patterson rambled for 272 yards and 4 touchdowns on 23 carries against DeSoto. Jackson is currently second in the metro area in scoring and in rushing yards. Big John Bennett had 88 yards and dragged tacklers up and down the field for the Hawks. He also led the charge on defense with 9 total tackles. For Borgia to be successful tonight, they must sustain long drives with short passes to help keep the Hawks' offense off the field. Their offensive line must give quarterback Hegman time to check down to open receivers as Hillsborough will blitz with the linebackers. If the Knights have drives that stall in the red zone, they won't hesitate to utilize their kicking game to put points on the board. A win tonight for Borgia would solidify their second place standing in the Class 3 District 3 standings and would most likely assure them of a first-round home game. Hillsborough will once again be without the services of standout running back and linebacker Austin Romaine. As the Hawks have plenty of depth at running back, his absence will be felt more on the defensive side of the ball. For Hillsborough to win tonight, they must continue to do what they do best, grinding teams down with their modified veer triple option offense. On defense, they have to put pressure on Borgia's quarterback and force him out of the pocket. The secondary must keep the Knights receivers in front of them and not give up the deep ball. A win for the Hawks tonight would most likely keep them in second place in the Class 4 District 1 standings, ahead of North County team, which will have their hands full at Potosi tonight. Stick around for what should be a very interesting game right here on Livestream STL.
Hey, we're here with the Gridiron Geek once again for week number 8. How you doing there, Kurt?
Pretty good, Ray. I'm wearing really a faded T-shirt. I have to explain. This is a Rocky T-shirt, really the only one I had kicking around. I mention Rocky Balboa because everybody knows even if they haven't seen all of the movies, they know the legend of Rocky Balboa. How
Sure.
He didn't win his first big fight, but he won everybody's heart by going the distance.
Yeah.
There's several games. I've spoke to some coaches who concur with me. I think that the entire county is stronger. Everybody's more parity. There's more good teams, more good games. All that wonderful stuff. Right now, and not just in our local districts, but in Misha. Yeah. But you can't avoid, on any level of football, you can't avoid the occasional mismatch.
Right.
And some of these teams tonight in week 8, they're not really playing to win. They don't have a chance. They're playing against the turbo clock. Can they go the distance?
Right.
Much like Jefferson did against Valley Catholic and beat the turbo clock and finish with a respectable score. So I think we're going to look for some of our Rocky candidates tonight to maybe go the distance against Apollo Creed.
Sounds good. Before we get started with that, let's recap real quick DeSoto Hillsborough, our Livestream STL play, our game last week, and your thoughts on that particular game.
Absolutely no surprise. This phenomenon of teams coming together and practicing and playing and improving, and then getting a little bit of time off to nurse their wounds. Right. These teams are going to be dangerous when they come back. I know right now probably the biggest seeding controversy in Misha has to do with teams coming out of quarantine, playing one or two tune-up games and getting a top seed. So now they're fresh and they have the advantage of the top seed.
Right.
So we don't know how often that might happen. It might happen, but we know that these are dangerous teams. And DeSoto ran out of gas in the second half. No surprise there. Good for Hillsborough to weather the storm of having to play two really charged up teams, and maybe even in a weird way getting a reprieve to be able to go back into the out of conference schedule and play some teams on even terms.
Sounds good. Appreciate the insight. Speaking of non-conference games, it seems like that's all we have this week here. We're going to go as quickly as we can because we got a lot of games here. Let's start with DeSoto and Fox, a rescheduled game. DeSoto was supposed to play St. Genevieve, but they rescheduled with Fox. Your thoughts on that one?
Mm-hmm. We don't get to talk about Fox too much on the Blitz. Fox, wonderful local team. We have them ranked currently first in our power poll. This is really a mismatch. I think DeSoto is kind of going to deal with what Hillsborough dealt with, ironically, last week. Fox has had an extra week to prepare and get healthy. Maybe not prepare for DeSoto, but with that, DeSoto can't expect to cope with Fox's numbers. And we should see a turbo clock in the fourth quarter of that game.
All right. Moving on to our next one here. We're going from large school to small school here. Crystal City and Missouri Military Academy.
Yes, our friends from Coastal Carolina, Missouri Military Academy, turned out to maybe not look quite as strong in the second half of the season as I think, here I bragged on these guys on your show. And so that's the Gridiron Geek Hex of legend. But I didn't mean to do that. But I think Crystal City's got a real good shot to go and win on the road, and this could be a much needed a second win for the Hornets tonight.
Nice. Grandview.
Not promising.
Okay. I'll give you that. But hey, you're saying there's a chance for Crystal City. I like that there.
1 point favorite. 1 point favorite.
Okay, there you go. Moving on to Grandview and St. Vincent.
Well, before you fight Apollo Creed, you have to learn how to fight Spider Rico. And I'll say the same thing about the Grandview Eagles that I said about the Windsor Owls a couple seasons ago. When Mickey discovered Rocky, he was still kind of losing to Spider Rico, but he was slugging it out pretty good. Now, St. Vincent is not the best team in the I-55 conference. They're probably not the second best team, but they're having a strong season. I think they're going to win that bronze medal. And if Grandview can avoid a turbo clock against really a 4-touchdown favorite and St. Vincent on the road, then it would be a big step for the varsity Eagles as well.
Perfect. Our next game, oh boy, Herculaneum and Valley. Yeah.
Well, no, I think Herculaneum has bigger fish to fry than sacrificing life and limb to try to avoid a turbo clock in this one. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for a playoff game or something like that, but Herculaneum needs to worry about weeks 9 and 10. So we're going to say an early turbo clock, maybe right around halftime in this contest.
All right. You're being nice. I appreciate that. Being nice to my Herky Black Cats.
What, you think there's going to be a turbo clock in the first 5 minutes?
No, I'm hoping there's not a turbo clock at all. But we know Valley's a good ball team there. So
ball security, Black Cats. Yeah. Ball security. Valley's getting an awful lot of points off turnovers this year.
Right. Moving on, Jefferson and Chaffee.
I had a friendly disagreement with the coach about this game as well. I think that if Jefferson will play up Chaffee. Alex Rugley is a wise coach. He reminds me of Dan Devine when Dan Devine coached the Missouri Tigers. Always playing up the opponent, always worried about the next underdog and the dangers of this and that. He's Karl Malone before the Dream Team's debut at the Olympics.
Right.
But I said if Colby Ott isn't standing on the sideline chewing sunflower seeds, wearing a ball cap right around the fourth quarter, Jefferson's doing something wrong. So I think this will be a turbo clock in the Blue Jays' favor as well.
Another Rocky game there. Your Festus Tigers. Yeah, your Festus Tigers at Farmington.
Well, for all of our poetic warrior battle talk about Rocky and Apollo Creed, sometimes you do have to be the hype killer. And once again, I hope the Festus fans don't hate me. I'm one of them. But I don't want to be the hype killer in some of these big regular season contests that Festus has found itself playing in. I mean, two really great teams, two wonderful traditions. You can't see it being a blowout either way. I mean, this is always with a few exceptions, such as the blowout in Festus' favor about 7 years ago. You know, even since then, it's really great games between Festus and Farmington. I just don't know how much these teams need a victory right now. You know, Farmington already lost the opportunity to have an undefeated season. Festus is the absolute clinch District 1 top seed with the bye in Week 10. There's nothing anybody can do about it now. So I just think we'll see the players play at 100% and the coaches maybe go about 75% rotate. Lots of junior varsity players in, keep everybody fresh, and make sure to stay healthy in this contest. With that, I think Festus is probably the natural favorite in a loose and easy game. So we're going to call him a 6-point favorite, but neither team's fan base should overreact if you lose this one because it's not going to be a magnificently important outcome in the grand scheme of things.
Perfect. Quickly moving along here, Windsor at Sweet Springs.
Well, a long road trip for the Windsor Owls to play, as you put it earlier, a Class 1 powerhouse in Sweet Springs. You know, the Sweet Springs doesn't look like such an overwhelming Class 1 team that they would necessarily be the favorite against a improving Class 4 team such as Windsor. So even with the long bus ride and the stiff legs, we're going to give the Owls a 2-touchdown favorite over Sweet Spring.
All right. Windsor, we already did that one. Our live stream STL South game of the week here, Thayer at St Pius.
Once again, you're talking about a team that is playing up when it comes to Thayer, but being the favorite often when they play up. If Thayer is about a 10-point favorite over St Pius tonight at Hill Valley, which I think they are, excuse the pun, I think that that's no surprise and something we've seen, you know, but at the same time, Thayer probably isn't what it was when they were competing with Valley for those Class 1 championships. So St. Pius has a strong chance as a strong underdog in Week 8.
Calling for an upset, are you?
No, I think Thayer will win by 10 points, but if the ball bounces funny, then St. Pius may indeed grab the upset.
All right. And the live stream STL game of the week here, Borgia at Hillsborough.
Another terrific choice, terrific game of the week. It's always interesting when Borgia plays the top teams in Jefferson County. I think special teams is going to play a role. You know, when Borgia beat Festus last season, you know, Festus played, I thought, one of the better out-of-conference games of anybody in the county when they took on Borgia and led 28-13 at halftime. But Borgia had field position the special teams mismatch was so lopsided that, you know, Borgia started every possession in Tiger territory, all 4 downs, rained balls into the end zone until they were able to come back and win. So Hillsborough can't let that happen. It's a little deceiving. I've talked about Hillsborough's special team struggles mostly to get as many 2-point conversions as the Hawks are used to. Much more important than 2-point conversions in this contest with Borgia is the field position. Kicking, punting, coverage teams, tackling, returners. Everybody has to do a good job because Borgia thrives on good field position. the Hawks give them a long field, I think they can pull off the victory, and we'll call Hillsborough a field goal favorite in your game of the week tonight. And hi, Patricia, once again.
I saw the cat there. She wants in on the action there. Well, thanks so much.
Always.
Appreciate all your insight there. You can catch Kurt over at the Gridiron Geeks Mississippi Magazine on Facebook. Thanks so much for being with us again this week.
Thank you, Ray. Have a good time.
You too, bud.
Check. All right, and welcome back to Jeffco Friday Night Blitz. Tonight we are here at the beautiful Hillsborough Hawks Stadium in Hillsborough, Missouri. Tonight we have the Borgia Knights versus the Hillsborough Hawks. Alex, how's it going, my guy? What are you thinking about tonight's matchup?
Well, I'm excited to see how this team from Borgia does. Don't really know much on them, but I know they came off a decent win last week, and Hillsborough fighting down there in DeSoto had 2 high-scoring games these past 2 weeks, and Hawks have, and excited to see some flying footballs tonight.
Yeah, I think that can be very, very true. And you were talking about Hillsborough trying to clinch that 2 seed.
Yeah, with the win tonight, they would at least clinch a 2 seed in the conference, which would help the playoff standings. And it's going to be interesting to see how this one unfolds. And we got 1 week left before the playoffs. Next week,
I think next week. Yeah, next week
is playoff time,
playoffs.
or is it next week playoff time?
Next week, I believe, is playoff time.
Thank God he said that, because I wasn't paying a lick of attention.
All right. Hillsborough winning that coin toss.
All right, let's get a number on this kicker here so we can get this one going underway. He's a decent-sized looking feller out there.
I think. It looks like a 4 at the end, maybe a 70, 50.
64? Is that a lineman kicking this football?
Love to see
anyways,
it,
it's Cody Drennan, and it's a squib kick. It's going to be picked up around the 34. And he's going to be brought down around the 44. And on that return was number 11 of the Knights, Andrew Patton. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Knights from their own, we'll say, 43-yard line.
1st and 10, Borgia.
And we are underway here in Hillsborough. It might sound different. I am not Ray, but I am on the live stream STL channel.
Changing things up here at the last second. Not sure what the play here is going to be. And it's going to be a quarterback keeper. That is Sam Schmidt trying to get across the 45, and he does so, brought down at the 47. And a quick shout out to Jefferson College here. They're sponsoring your first quarter out here in Hillsborough. Jefferson College, where you want to make Jefferson College your first choice for a great education.
Very, very true.
So trying to keep up with this, I might just not do this at all tonight. Keep up on scoring plays, maybe. All right, it's a quarterback keeper. It was actually an option, and he's going to pick up some yards, taking it to the 50. That was number 12, Sam Hagman. We'll go with that. There's a couple extra E's in there. I want to say Haggy, but we're going to go with Hagman. Or Hagenman.
Number 70, Jordan Jarvis.
So this will set up a 3rd and 3 for the Knights here at midfield.
Beautiful night out here for football, though.
Oh, it's a gorgeous night. It's what you dream about for fall sports, man. So we're going to see Hagman in shotgun, and he's going to hand it off to number 22. That's going to be enough for a Knight first down. Across the 45, finally brought down around the 43 of Hillsborough. And number 22 is Alonzo McDonald. Picking up that first down and picking up 7 on the run. So Alonzo stays to the right of Hegman rather. Motion man, and it's going to go, no, he's going to pull back. That is Hegman staying left. Nobody's home. He's going to trace to the end zone. Can he make it? He's going to be brought down just shy of the goal line. They're going to mark him down at what appears to be the 2.
Number 12, Sam Hageman.
Sam Hageman with the carry.
Touchdown. It'll be first and goal for the Knights.
As that was an option play, he kept it instead of handing it off to Alonzo and paid off big. First and goal Knights from the 2 of Hillsborough. 9:43 left in the first quarter. McDonald behind Begman, and into the end zone goes McDonald, and the Knights strike first with 9:27 to play in the opening quarter.
Really great drive for Borgia. I think that they had that QB sneak and they had that option played down, and I think that's one thing that's killing Hillsborough a lot during this season is a lot of QB sneaks and a lot of them keeping the ball and getting that option play.
And going for the PAT as they send out Trenton Valmert for the point after. He's a left-footed kicker. Don't see many of them, but he gets the job done, puts it through. 7-0 Borgia. Headed to the break, 9:27 to go here in the first quarter. You're watching Friday Night Blitz here on Live Stream STL.
Jefferson College is my first choice.
My first choice to launch a successful career, not just a job.
My first choice for classes that are guaranteed to transfer toward my major.
Affordable career programs, 2-year transfer, and high school dual enrollment courses. And the path to a great career without paying a 4-year college price. Jefferson College is my first choice.
My first choice. Make Jefferson College your first choice for a great education.
Since their inception in 1980, SMCI has always been about high integrity and treating people the way you would want to be treated, just like family. Mostly known as a commercial contractor, SMCI has now decided to give the family treatment to everyone. They are now opening their residential department to the public as Home by SMCI, so everyone can experience the home treatment. Everyone deserves maximum comfort in their very own home. Isn't it time you come home? Contact SMCI at
Welcome back to Hillsborough High School, where number 17, he says Peyton Brown with the carry on the kickoff return for the Hawks. He'll take it to the Hawk 37-yard line, and first and 10 Hillsborough from their own 37 with 9:20 to go here in the opening quarter. Quick recap of that Borgia drive is capped off by that 2-yard rushing touchdown by Alonzo McDonald, but don't overlook that long run from Hageman, who took it down to 2 that set up that Alonzo touchdown. So this is Ray, and he's going to keep it on the right side. Looking for a block. He's going to have the corner, sliding back left, and he's going to be wrapped up across the 45 of Borgia and brought down finally at the 9:43, or 44 rather.
Ray haven't really been showing his legs a lot during this season. I think he's really been a passing quarterback or a handing out quarterback. I think he's now kind of getting more comfortable and showing those legs.
Absolutely. We saw him with some good runs there at Windsor, DeSoto, Festus, and it's good to see him continue with those power moves. Ray's going to hand it off, and it's going to be a 4-yard pickup. As that went to, who'd you see that went to?
Couldn't see on that one, but I do want to mention that we do have an injury on the Hawks team with Jackson Patterson being out this week. See him on the sideline with a knee brace, so hopefully it's a speedy recovery for him, but he will not be in this game.
That's unfortunate from the Hawks, as they have to look to Harrison Voiles, who is they have him listed here as a sophomore.
Yeah.
but nonetheless getting out there and picking up 4. And it's going to be a blown play in the backfield, dropping behind the line, a loss, or they're going to keep him at the line or so there. Looking at the near official. So it looked to be a loss on the play. It's actually going to be a 1-yard pickup for 3rd and 9 for the Hawks from the Borgia 43 now. 7:40 and counting down left in the first quarter. Plenty of time for the Hawks to knot this one up before we see the second roll on. Ray drops back. Being chased, cuts back left, throws right into the flats, no one home. His intended receiver was number 32, Harrison Voiles, and that's going to bring out the punting team for Hillsborough as they're going to punt from the Borgia 43-yard line. Looking for that corner coffin kick here. Standing on his own 44. 2 men deep for Borgia. Number 35 and we'll go 33 of the Knights. Low snap, picks it up off the turf. Spiral, that's number 30 who's going to drop it and field it up. That is Ryan Kell. And he's not going to pick up much, maybe 5 on the return. Brought down at the 15 of Borgia. And
we're going to go pay those bills.
All right.
You are watching Jeffco Friday Night Blitz here on live stream STL.
One, two, three, my baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for sure.
Today's the day. Get 0% APR on 9 Toyota models, or get up to $1,750 customer cash on RAV4, Camry, Corolla, and Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back to Hillsborough. Just saw a long pass, but I believe it's coming back as we see a penalty called on the Knights. And it's an illegal substitution or a man downfield. Not really good on the signals. So that was ineligible downfield.
That's what you can't want with that big play like that. You can't want to get some kind of call that brings that all the way back.
So mark them back inside the 10 of Borgia now. 1st and 15, ball eyes on the 9. Man in motion, and it's going